Today we are continuing our understanding of text structures by learning about this problem and solution text. While we read this text, we're going to look for clues that help us understand what problem and solution is occurring and why did the author tell this story with a problem and a solution structure. What benefit did problem and solution have on our understander as a reader? We're also going to look at words in this story that we might not know and look at the words before it and the words after it and look at the context clues. So, the first thing we are going to do is, Ellie Girl decided she wanted to help us read. The first thing we're going to do is our unravel. And in our unravel, we are going to underline the title. When we underline the title, it says 30 seconds of fuel. And I think about that and I go to our next step of an unravel, which is N, now predict the passage. When I'm thinking about this passage, I'm predicting that it will have something to do with gas or something that is being powered. I also see an illustration here of some type of space structure, like a satellite or an astronaut or something there. So when I'm predicting this story, I really am going to think about what does that need to be powered and how is it going to last for 30 seconds. Our next part is R, run through a number. I see here we have 4 paragraphs. And in those 4 paragraphs, I'm just going to make note that that is our number 4. The next part of unravel is are the important words circled. I don't see any headings or any type of text features in writing, but I do see an illustration here. So I'm going to put a box around our illustration. There's also this box, closed reading habits, and that says, how does the structure of the last 2 paragraphs differ? I'm going to underline differ because that means different from the others. Reread the article and circle the details that help you identify the structures in paragraphs 3 and 4. I'm going to underline that part because that is what it's telling us to do. Next is A, are you reading the questions? So I'm going to look over at our questions on our next page, 235. And question number 1 says, this question has 2 parts. Answer part A, then answer part B. In the paragraphs 1 and 2, the author describes events in time order. What structure does the author use to present information in paragraphs 3 and 4? So it tells us here in 1 and 2, that's a place, so I'm going to underline that. The author describes, tell me all about it, the time order. And we know that means the same as chronological order. And then it asks us, what structure does the author use to present information in paragraphs 3 and 4? So I'm going to underline 3 and 4 because that is where we will be looking for the answer. Part B says, which 2 sentences from the text best support the answer to part A? So I'm going to circle this number 2 because that tells us how many to select. And I'm going to circle support because support means back it up. Ellie. Next, I'm going to venture through the passage. So please put your finger on the first word in the passage, and I'm going to begin reading. 30 Seconds of Fuel by Teresa Barker. Paragraph 1. In July 1969, 3 astronauts blasted off for the moon. Their goal was not only to land on the moon, but also walk on its surface. The journey from Earth to Moon was quiet, and the astronauts were patient and calm during the trip. The landing, however, would be quite exciting. Paragraph 2. After getting near the moon, the landing ship named Eagle separated from the command ship. The command ship then remained in orbit around the moon during the landing ship's descent to the moon. The astronauts flying the ship made the announcement. The astronaut Neil Armstrong said, "The Eagle has wings." He meant that the landing ship was flying well and doing its job. Paragraph 3. As the Eagle began its final approach, alarms sounded. By now, fuel was running low. Looking out the window, Neil realized the terrain was not good for landing. The problem was that it was rocky and dangerous. The landing site was supposed to be smooth. There was less than a minute of fuel left for a landing. They ran out. The Eagle would be forced to cancel its flight and go back to the command ship. Armstrong had to decide how to meet his challenge. Should he call off the landing, or should he look for another landing spot? He quickly chose to fly the ship to another area. Just seconds later, the ship landed in an area of the moon called the Sea of Tranquility. There were only about 30 seconds of fuel left. Armstrong announced, "The Eagle has landed." Okay, so when we look at that passage, we need to look in paragraphs 3 and 4 for the problem and for the solution. So there's a few words that indicate problem and solution. Take about 30 seconds with your group or by yourself and look for those problem and solution clue words that are indicated in paragraphs 3 and 4. Okay, so the words indicated to help us understand the text structure of problem and solution were the words here in paragraph 3, the problem. So you see the word the problem. The problem was that it was rocky and dangerous. That we should write here in our problem box. So it was rocky and dangerous. I am going to be writing quick notes, but when you guys fill out your chart, you should make sure you are writing complete details with evidence from the text. Next, it said in paragraph 4, Armstrong had to decide how to meet his challenge. And that word right here, challenge, is one of our clue words for problem and solution. So Armstrong had to decide how to meet this challenge. That is part of the problem and the solution. It says next, he quickly chose to fly the ship to another area. Just seconds later, the ship landed in an area of the moon called the Sea of Tranquility. So when we look at that, we see that we have those clue words, problem, challenge, and then what he chose, which is part of the solution. So what you should do here is now put the solution in the solution box. The solution should be something along the lines as he met his challenge by landing the ship, he landed the ship in another area, or he quickly chose to land the ship in another area. Any of these 3 lines or 2 sentences would be good evidence to put in our solution box. Please write that in your solution box now. All right, we're going to go ahead now and work on our questions in part A and part B. So our question for part A says, in paragraphs 1 and 2, the author describes time order. What structure does the author use to present information in paragraphs 3 and 4? So we use our clue words to see that there's words like problem and challenge, and we now need to find an answer choice that mimics what we found in our text. Mimic means the same or does the same. A. The author tells the order in which events happened during the eagle's attempt to land. B. The author explains a challenge Armstrong faced and how he solved it. C. The author tells what caused the eagles to land and what happened as a result. And D. The author compares and contrasts events that happened before and after the eagle landed. So I see some clue words here like compare and contrast, as a result, challenge, and events happened. So I see in option A, that clue word is a clue word for order and chronological order. In problem B, we have the word challenge, and that speaks about problem and solution. In part C, we have the word as a result. And we learned last week that as a result helps clue us to cause and effect. Lastly, we have compare and contrast. And we learned that clue word last week when we were doing a comparison model. So the answer choice here would be answer number B, because that clue word, challenge, also matches our word challenge in paragraph 4. So in paragraph 4 and in question answer choice B, they have matching clue words and matching text structures. Part B, which 2 sentences from the text best support the answer in part A? So we need to find 2 answer choices that tell us about problem and solution. A. The eagle began its final approach. Alarms sounded. B. The problem was that it's rocky and dangerous. C. The landing site was supposed to be smooth. D. There was less than a minute of fuel left for landing. E. He quickly chose to fly the ship to another area. And F. The eagle has landed. Looking at these, I see right here it says the problem. And that to me is a clue word from the text that matches problem and solution. So I'm going to circle answer choice B. I now have the problem that happened in the text, and I need to find another detail to support the solution. Thinking about the answer choices, the answer choice that tells me the solution is that E. He quickly chose to fly the ship to another area. He chose. That was his solution. So now we have found the problem and the solution. Please go on and do question